Hey, welcome back. So, next I want to talk about self care through self discipline. Discipline and organization do not come naturally to me at all. But one of the things that I had to learn about myself over and over and over again is I'm really good at working 100 hours a week. I'm really good in a crisis. I'm really good at helping other people with their problems. But the little things were always what got to me. So, the good news is I have fairly healthy standards and expectations for myself today, but I want to be able to push my limits to a reasonably healthy extent. I'm still a work in progress. So, I'm fond of the expression being nibbled to death by ducks. What I learned when I was working as a crisis worker was that I could triage and prioritize and handle a bunch of crises simultaneously, and then I'd lose my mind when it turned out I couldn't find my car keys or my cell phone had gone dead. So, part of my self care and wanting to get the absolute most out of my time is developing those habits. And we all know what those habits are, we all know to develop them. And if you're anything like me, you just view it as a pain in the ass and something that you just don't care to do. And so part of not burning out anymore was making those really small investments of developing routines, practicing them through repetition. And there's no rocket science here, but as I develop a structured approach to getting up in the morning, things I do before I leave my home, things I do when I get to the office, things that I do before I leave the office, things I do when I get home, and things I do before bed. What I've found is it's reduced my stress dramatically, and specifically, it helps with sleep and it helps with reducing the stress of the fear of forgetting. So I'm pretty organized out of necessity. I have a calendar and an online calendar. I have a smartphone that reminds me throughout the day of where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. And frankly, I hated the process of developing those habits. But what I hate more is living with the fear of I'm going to forget an important meeting. I'm going to let down somebody that I really love. And so developing those small habits was a huge step in reducing my overall stress. And surprisingly, it helps me not burn out because I'm not aggravated by small things. We all know the old expression of don't sweat the small stuff, but frankly, we're consciously driven and geared towards dealing with the big things. The little things are what gets under our radar. And I think that's worth looking at too. Things that get under my radar surprised me. Music, books, film, even television shows get past my radar. I don't have defenses for those. And so those are the things that speak to me and touch on wherever I'm struggling, whatever's hard about my work. The next thing I know is I hear a song or watch a movie that reminds me of those themes, and then I end up a mess. I end up crying while watching a television show. So, one of the many routines that I've added to my life is a little bit of journaling. I know that a lot of folks don't enjoy journaling. I see it as a great investment, as literally getting on the same page with myself. When I don't feel like doing a narrative or exploring my emotions, what I do is kind of a modified version of making lists. So I write down every important area of my life, what's coming up next, what do I need to be prepared for, what do I need to plan for. And again, this process is a million times more efficient on a screen or on paper than it is in my head. It's so simple, but it's one of the biggest mistakes that we make, and it's one of the many things that puts us at further risk of burnout, is everything exists here instead of here. Everything in my life is far more amenable to change when I bring it out into the open. It looks different. I use a different part of my brain when I write about it than when I talk about it or just think about it. So it's like coming at the same problem from different angles. So making these really minor investments, I know how tedious it can be. I know that I don't enjoy learning and enforcing a new habit. But once I have it, it serves me really well. It reduces my stress. I'm on the same page with myself, and I'm able to maximize the time that I have. So please consider those as investments in self. Please consider those as something that's going to improve your health and your overall quality of life. I know they're simple. I also know we don't do them.